Hello, it is Wednesday at the 1:30 hour. We're a little bit early today. Rob Morris, RC Network, here with The Inner Journey. I am with my esteemed, wonderfully fantastic, and indubitably delicious. It's kind of hard to say. Miss Mary Heather Van Alstyne.
Hello.
Yes, they all love you. Everybody loves you here at RC Network. So again, Robin Morales with Miss Mary Van Alstyne, talking about emotions and the thing we call the inner journey. So as entrepreneurs, small business owners, we are on this journey together, trying to figure out these emotions and how to make ourselves better people at the end of the day, which also in turn makes us better business owners. So yet we are here talking about the emotions of the day. If you like us, hit the like button here on YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, whatever. Give us some hearts because we love the loves and we love to share the love with you. How are you doing, Miss Mary?
I'm doing well.
You ever had a backwards day? Like you just get up
I knew you were going to call me.
And you put your dress on backwards. Ever happened to you?
Actually, yes.
Oh,
today, look, so my dress is on backwards, which I noticed just a little bit ago when I was wondering why I was so itchy right here.
Everybody's a little itchy.
No one would have known.
I bet you should see her stand up. She looks very, very exquisite.
I don't know if I can stand up with this.
You like to wear jackets in the summer. I do notice that.
Yeah, it's, I need to go shopping.
Is that an insecurity thing or is that just like a...
It's a professionalism, I think.
Oh, really?
You know, just a professional look. I don't know.
Oh, I don't know. Because sometimes, like, I have to hide the belly fat kind of stuff because, I try to squeeze into my, pants that I haven't worn in especially after the whole, like, last year is like I'm trying to squeeze in.
Should I take my jacket off?
Oh, no, I don't care. I mean, you just look warm.
Let's spice it up a little bit.
Oh, hey, hello. Hello, let's spice it up a little bit on a Wednesday here with Mary Van Alstyne taking off her jacket.
All right, hello. There we go.
I didn't even adjust your camera. That's
there
how crazy we are. There we go. We're about the same height now. So again, we like to come in on a Wednesday, talk about feelings and emotions and stuff. And I think at the end of it, make ourselves a better people, at least have a moment,
Yeah.
between you and I.
And make ourselves better people and be able to help other people be better people and be better people for those people around us, which then makes everybody better together.
Which makes everybody feel a little bit spicy. Do you feel a little bit spicy today, man?
I felt very spicy until I took off my jacket.
Oh, hello. We'll go back to that again. I'm just kidding. I mean, take that off.
Yeah, actually, today was a bit of a day with the uncertainties and not sure if things are going to work out well, and just having this certainty and knowing that it always works out well for me. So it was a very uncertain kind of day. Wink, wink.
So the reason for today's show, we wanted to talk a little bit about, I think in general relationships, we've had some very close conversations about the people we see and the things that are going on in our lives. And one of the topics that came up was the need for certainty and the need for variety or uncertainty, if you may. And it got into a conversation about Tony Robbins and some of the other things that we've come across. And I did want to post that real quick. So Tony Robbins, if you've ever watched anything of him, I'll just put it up here. Mary had a good video to go watch. Let me see. It's called. Let me get Mary out of the way. It's called Tony Robbins: The 6 Human Needs. In that, and if you follow Tony Robbins, he does talk about the same things we discuss, that kind of inner turmoil, the inner journey that we all kind of embark upon. And he tries to do that in a way where you feel connected to everybody around you. And he does these seminars, and I don't know what he's doing as far as the business end of it anymore, but he's definitely trying to resolve these inner feelings so we can be progressive in life. And in whatever capacity, and for us here, it's business, but for him, it's just kind of general life stuff. But
I think he also does a business mastery course too.
Oh, he does?
Yeah, he's very passionate about business owners.
Yeah, so we did want to highlight some of the 6 human needs that he does discuss, and that you can kind of reference back to that video. So if you go ahead and type in YouTube at some point, the six human needs, Tony Robbins, something like that. I'm sure you can look that up. But the things we wanted to focus in on more so based on our conversation was the need for certainty and the need for variety.
Yes.
Do you want to share an experience and why we were kind of bringing this up today, Miss?
My own personal experience?
Whatever you feel comfortable with. Or just in general past relationships. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, I think that I've noticed in my life, right, and through all the different relationships that I've been in, from both my end of it and maybe my partner's end of it, is that we all have this need for certainty and stability, right, and those kinds of things. But then, we also have this basic human need of uncertainty and variety. And so I think we were kind of talking about how do you get those two things in a relationship, right? You want to know the person's going to be there, and yet you want things to be a little bit unknown and mysterious and be able to spice things up. And it's like, how do you do that? And how we were kind of talking about how some people do it in a very unhealthy way, in a lot of, which would be, cheating on your partner or putting yourself at risk in different ways. And so I think that's kind of how we came up with talking about this today.
Yeah, well, in my personal experiences, I've come across, people I've dated, people I've been with that I found very boring at times. And those are usually the people that are very certain in my life. And I reflect upon that now, and I look back, and the people that I felt were very boring, very dispassionate, were just homebodies, had a different need base, but they were like almost too certain for me. It was like, oh, I know if I call right now, they're going to answer the phone. I know if I text, they're going to text right back. And oh my God. And then they need this constant sense of reassurance from you. And those are the people that I found, quote unquote, boring. The people that were spicy and exciting, I felt I was the opposite of that. I felt like I was always chasing after them. I felt like I was always texting. I felt like I was always having to do things to satisfy whatever they had going on at the sacrifice of myself, just because I needed somebody there to give me attention. That was very variety. Like some of the best physical engagements, sexual encounters. Physical engagements that I've had have been with those types of people that are just all over the place, right? Because it's exciting and it's fun, but you don't have that certainty. And I think wherever we're at in a relationship, it's either you're yearning for somebody to settle down, variety, or you're looking for somebody to kind of be more passionate, certainty. And that's when we were talking in our conversations, I think that's where that stemmed from. Is that we're always constantly looking for the other thing.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. And then I think it also has to do a lot with which one of these, because I think Tony Robbins talks about how of these 6 human needs that we all have, we tend to value some a little bit above others. So maybe, the person that, because I've also been in that same scenario with the very boring, yet it was very predictable, very secure, yet drove me absolutely nuts, right? Because I craved like some uncertainty and variety. I mean, my personality style, right?
She doesn't like to sit down.
I don't like comfort. I don't like things to be the same. I'm always challenging myself, and so clearly, I value the variety and the uncertainty. I wouldn't say necessarily more than the certainty, but I think there's a way that we can have a healthy balance of both in our relationships.
See, I think we need to take a step back. So I'm gonna express my kind of point of view on these 6 basic needs. Okay. I think the first 2, certainty, variety, really point to our physical sense. The things that we need physically. And again, it's opinion. Okay. And then emotionally, the significance, love, and connection, which we can get into today, but we're going to stick with the first 2. And then growth and contribution are more of that spiritual sense. Like you've mastered not only your physical plane, and you have a clear understanding of your emotional, you can progress forward now into the spiritual realm, which is growth and contribution. Contribution means giving without a sense of reward, constantly giving back to people without, and it's not necessarily money. So don't equate it to anything kind of like tangible. It's like, are you there? Are you present enough to give somebody a true gift, which is time, a true gift, which is, presence. And so not getting into those parts, I think we're going to stick with the variety and certainty, which I think are highly physical. And I think they go back to who we were as just Neanderthals and basic humans.
Oh, I tend to think that they're emotional as well, though.
Oh, really? Give me a point of view, miss.
So as far as like certainty in, let's see. Oh, now I'm on the spot. So emotionally, like, are you willing to be with someone when you don't know that they're committed to you? Like, that's a certainty, like, that's a certainty kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
Or knowing that you are always going to tell the truth, or knowing, you know what I mean? It's like,
But are you really?
some people, when they value that, I suppose. I'm lost.
So I want to go back to that again. So having a sense of certainty and variety, to me, having certainty means that things are predictable.
Okay, what about this? People who always listen to the same music, or they always take a certain route to work, or they always, I mean, it's not.
Those are
just,
boring people, though.
Right, but I don't know that it's all physical, right? Or here's a perfect example. I know someone in my life who will never take any kind of emotional risk, will never show too much of affection, will never completely allow themselves to love fully, because they need the certainty of a very set level of emotional of feelings and emotions, right? They are not willing. They have to be certain, so certain that they've lived a life basically locked in a little box, unwilling to move out of this zone of emotion, because they valued certainty of feeling no pain, right? Comfort. That to me is huge for certainty. Is like, you're willing to sacrifice everything in your life to stay in this little realm of certainty. Like, I know I'm not going to feel that much pain because I will never put myself in a situation that would allow me to, meaning to love someone fully.
Yeah, and I think when it comes to, in terms of like my standpoint regarding certainty and uncertainty, I'll put it back up. I always kind of go back to whenever I'm in kind of a questionable state or something's ambiguous and I can't really make ins and outs of it. I go back to very basic thinking, or at least I try to reference back to, okay, if I'm a Neanderthal man, if I'm a person that is on its very basic functions, if I'm basically a gorilla or a monkey or something. How does this function as far as survival goes? Certainty to me means I need to find food. I need to find shelter. I need to find water, and so those are, in my mind, very tangible, very physical needs, because if I'm hungry, I want to eat. If I'm thirsty, I want to drink. If I need to find shelter, I need to find shelter. I need to find those certainties, or at least a way to consistently get those. And, we equate that to money now, but back then it's like, hey, to survive, you need those very basic things.
Like hierarchy of needs.
Yeah. Going back Maslow's hierarchy of needs. But when it comes to variety, like, we are built to survive, right? We're built to go out there and expect the unexpected. So we're given these two references or mindsets to be like, I need to find certainty, I need to find my very basic needs, and I need to also be on my toes, because I don't know what could be coming around the corner. I don't know if it could be a mountain lion. I don't know if it could be something to attack my home front. So I need to always be on my feet at all times and be very conscientious about something going wrong. If I become too complacent, then I get eaten, right? Mm-hmm. But if I'm out there going out there hunting all the time, am I going to have something when I come back? Mm-hmm. So then you break down into the other things of, like, having somebody at home, having that kind of that balance, and having a partner and a relationship. So that all stems from that. But the very basics of it are like, I need to survive. I need to find those physical things, and so that's where my mindset is regarding certainty and variety.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, we're just looking at it from two different areas. That's the only difference, I think.
So I do think there's emotions tied back to it, but I'm saying, I just whenever I'm in an ambiguous situation, I kind of reference that back. How did I need this to survive? When I'm stressed, when I'm anxious, okay, why do I need this right now? Why do I feel this right now? What purpose is it serving? Not necessarily in the situation, but why am I feeling this? Is it something? Do I feel in danger, kind of thing?
So do you feel like when you're in situations, you're really attempting to understand what's going on in the, like, reptilian brain to primal, basic survival brain, to see why it's causing you to act that way or feel that way? Yeah.
I mean, that, and then adding into the procreation part, so the need for sex, basically. Because as a species, we need to procreate in order to continue the species. So that's kind of built in the side infrastructure besides looking for food. It's like, hey, I want to eat and sleep, eat and do something else.
So there's
I need to
that
make
whole
more humans.
certainty variety thing around that particular
So
segment.
hence back to the relationship part.
Yeah.
Hence back to our discussion. So, right? Is
I
that
just side railed us off into a whole different.
talking about relationships?
Well, it all ties in together.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and it's hard to separate or segment, but I want to say that certainty, variety really relate back to those very basic human needs of just eating and functioning and having sex. I don't think we're ever going to get away from that. No matter how strongly minded we are, no matter how we've come to find ourselves, whatever, you have an epiphany in life, be like, oh, I can control everything. I think our overall goal is to feel happy, but happiness comes with understanding, and understanding is sitting and watching us do this podcast.
yeah, and I think that if you look at throughout human history, the need to control these things that are, you're saying we will never control. I believe, like if you look at celibacy and forced celibacy, and look at all of the things that creates, it all comes out in one way or another at some point, right? So I think instead of trying to control these things, we just learn and understand them and be able to just navigate them and work with them, instead of this trying to suppress something that's there at a very deep level.
And I think the reason why we discuss this, because we have a shared, maybe not disappointment, but definitely, why not disappointment? If there's a different word, I think you come disappointed in whoever you're with, for whatever reasons, your own expectations, the circumstances, whatever the situation is involved, because for you and I think we're able to recognize some of these things. But it's also hard to get past the emotion of it, because it's so built in there. It's so vascular. It's just everything that we do is connected to survival, right? Finding food, having sex, finding food, having sex, finding shelter, having sex. I said that 3 times on purpose. But it's just all built in there. And no way, no matter how mindful I become, no matter how, more understanding I have of this life and the things we talk about, I can't get away from that. Like there are moments where I'm hungry and I want to eat, and it's just like everything I'm seeing is food. And then, or if you haven't had sex in a while, it's like everything I see is like I want to sleep with. It's like, why am I going through this? And I know I'm not alone, because there's this whole like underlaying society, like our subcultures, right, of people who like to overeat and hide it. When I was 100 pounds overweight, I'd hide it. Right, I go be eating cheeseburgers when in front of everybody I'm eating a bowl of oatmeal and run off to 15 minutes to work early just so I can get 3 cheeseburgers and not tell anybody, because it was $3 in cash I can get away with and nobody would know. And then the same thing for the sex industry. It's all hidden, all and then when somebody gets caught, it's like, oh, it's this big revelation. Like, really, is it really a big revelation that somebody's having these things or is exploring these things? I don't know.
Yeah.
Sorry, I don't mean to keep going. It got me on a whim, but going back to, again, that need for certainty and variety, and I think it really ties back into relationships.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Like if you think about it, I was thinking about it earlier, and I've known so many people that say they have that like 7-year itch, right?
Yeah,
you've heard of that, where you're bored and you want to look for something else, or you want out. And then somehow for some people it comes in the 7-year mark. And I think that ties greatly back to the lack of variety, the lack of uncertainty that comes, that we crave, right? At least in that aspect of our life, in the relationship part. And I really had a thought and it just left.
Is it because you're wearing your dress backwards today?
Probably. My uncertainty for the day. Will anyone know that my clothes are backwards?
Well, bringing up the 7-year itch, I mean, again, I think people get stagnant or kind of, again, they're projecting out with somebody else the dissatisfaction they feel in their own life. If they are the person that's always kind of offering the variety but never stability, that's what they're constantly looking for, is that variety part. It's because they haven't figured out for themselves how to self-satisfy that. And then for the people who are certain, who need that like A to B, that need to make sure everything lines up perfectly and all that, who are super certain, they get stuck there, and they don't know how to live life outside of that, and so they're always anxious or always insecure about whatever they're doing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I believe kind of just like, wow.
We got you on a good note today, Mary.
You totally did. Maybe it's because I keep looking at this and getting distracted with the words.
Maybe you need to look at me. Here, just look at me.
I think that you can basically learn how to kind of navigate through and create your own uncertainty, right? And your own variety.
Well, that was my
in
next
a very
question.
in the very healthy way. That's where my thought was going. That just like went away. And you can also create that sense of certainty, And I think it's all about. Gosh, it seems like our whole life is all about learning something and then creating some kind of system or process around it until it becomes ingrained into our way of being, So what was your question?
No, and that's, again, how are some ways, because I feel you as somebody being very kind of more out there, uncertain. You just you like the fun more than you like the staying at home kind of stuff. And there are people who like to stay home that are anxious about going and having fun.
Yeah.
Fun categorized however you want to, or whatever you want to put under fun.
Whatever.
I've heard stories, and I can't really share those.
Oh, my.
That's why we have hesitations. Like, I feel the hesitation sometimes because it's like, do I say what I really want to say? Because it's going to be recorded, it's going to be out there, and people are watching. So I'm very mindful of this sort of stuff.
Oh my goodness! So what was the question?
So for the people that are varietous in their nature, is there certain things that they can do to kind of satisfy that and not put it on somebody else? Because I think that's really the key question, is that you find people that you need in your life, but there's also people that you want in your life. And that's not necessarily always the same person. You may have somebody who's very certain in your life. You'll know what time they get up in the morning. You know what time they have coffee. And to somebody who is very varietous, that's very boring. And then the opposite side, if somebody is very, looking, if somebody knows and is very stable, and they want to basically pull back that person and kind of have them more stable. Is there a balance there? Can there be a balance there?
Oh, with the two of them,
Yeah.
with the.
Well, because it goes back to
The relationship
John Bowlby, attachment theory. So if you're into attachment theory, that's kind of what we're hinting at, or at least I'm hinting at, is that you have somebody who is anxiously attached, and then you have somebody who is avoided. And so, and those two types of people tend to find and gravitate towards each other. One is pulling away, and one is chasing after the other, constantly. And there's some sort of balance in between there that we lose and that we need in a relationship, right?
Yeah. I'm not very familiar with that, so I don't know how to speak to that very well.
Yeah.
With that, I haven't read that book or anything, so I don't know exactly what.
It's John Bowlby is a researcher.
Okay. But I think that being able to create that variety and uncertainty, you mean within the relationship or outside,
to be
on
consistent.
your own? Okay. Well, to me, it seems like communication is absolutely the top part, most important piece.
Yeah.
Being able to communicate with your partner, your love interest, whoever it is, like what you really need, like what your needs are. That's a huge part of it, and being willing to set some things up so that you can have that variety and uncertainty too. So I think the communication piece really does work with the certainty part, being able to be open and vulnerable and know that you're on the same page. And I think as far as the variety and the uncertainty part, it's like setting some things up together mutually, or even just like, I feel like when we get too comfortable in anything in life, we decay, right? Including our relationships. So if we're in a relationship for 5 years and I'm just living my day to day and I'm never doing anything to put effort or work into the relationship, well, then of course it's going to become stale. So being able to communicate and being able to like say, hey, let's set some goals together that, was something that we're working on together, or hey, here's some exciting things I'd love to try in the bedroom, like maybe surprise me one day, or whatever. Like it's all about communication, or just being the person that like treat your relationship as if you were always in that first 3-month phase is kind of how I see it. And that's how I've always operated. I would say I'm still doing the things that I did in the first 3 months, 5 and 7 years down the road, you know? And so
can I guess what that is? I won't do it here, but I'll do
love notes.
Oh yeah. But but we've discovered that you're highly physical touch.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Just kidding. I won't reveal anything. Revealing too much.
Boy, I'm getting quite the reputation today. Right?
You're the one that took the test. You revealed it on.
I did. I revealed my love language.
So and it's interesting that you say communication, because I think that's kind of the baseline that everybody kind of gives, and I think it's hard to tell somebody to communicate when they really don't know themselves, their own emotions and their own drives. And I think that's probably the fault we have as well. It's not our fault as children, but our fault as parents, not sitting down and really interpreting these things to ourselves and then following up with our children to have them interpret a lot of these emotions instead of, because we always go back to our state as children, the younger children. And when we are dissatisfied with something, we get mad and we kind of stomp our feet or we just run away. But yet we never grow from that. So to go back to my point, I think the communication part of it goes back to these other realms, these other areas, these other 6 human needs. When you get up to, once you understand, again, my understanding, or at least what I choose is love and significance is the emotional state. Once you kind of master those, you can move on to growth and contribution. I think certainty, variety, significance, and love are all personal. Those are all things you need to learn of yourself. And once you master those, you can move into the growth and contribution. Communication is part of that growth and contribution part. When you're able to effectively communicate without getting emotional about it. When you're able to articulate yourself and say, hey, you know what, I really want more sex from you, but I'm not going to put it on you to give me more sex. I'm not going to put it on you to satisfy that or satisfy some of the needs that I have. But I want you to be very aware that it's very existent in my life, and this is something that I feel like I need. But if you're not able to give it to me, I'm not going to go out and do it with somebody else. But shit, there are times I'm checking out other women and I'm doing other things where I'm like, okay, I got to calm myself down. I got to separate from that because I'm in a higher emotional or at least a higher state of awareness. But I am still driven by the first two. I'm still driven by my physical needs.
True. And I think just like with any of these, just like everything else we talk about, it's all about being able to create that within yourself, right? Yep. So there are ways that you can create. We could talk about so many things. There's how do you create these things within your relationship, but how do you create it with yourself? How do you create that level of security and certainty with yourself and give yourself that, the variety and doing it in a healthy way, right? Yeah. Like how do you go satisfy those needs within you?
And to bring it back personally, because we're pretty much at the end of the show, Miss.
We goes by quick. Spin in circles today, I think.
I know, maybe a little bit. But one thing I've discovered along this whole process is that I constantly need to give myself challenges. Like I am dissatisfied with a lot of things, and once I've mastered something, I kind of get bored of it and push it away. Which is very much what we talked about.
We both do that.
Yeah, I know. But it's like photography lately has been something a pet project / passion for, like the details and getting the right angles and doing that, giving myself a constant challenge has allowed me not to place that with Violet or anybody else in my life. I'm not going to put that upon them to satisfy that. I'm putting that upon myself to figure it out, to give myself a drive.
Exactly. And I think that was the biggest part that I was going to bring up as far as variety is like how do I satisfy that within myself, and I'm always putting myself up to some sort of challenge, learning something new, taking some crazy adventure somewhere, setting goals that are it's gonna take something for me to hit those goals, right? That's creating all this level of uncertainty in your life, but those are healthy levels of uncertainty, right? And so I think that we both are doing something very similar as far as that goes, and that way you're like you said, we're not placing that out as someone else's responsibility to provide that. And I think that's covers everything that we talk about. Like our whole entire Inner Journey show has been about being able to take self-responsibility and create all these things within yourself. Go inward, right? Instead of outward. So, but how do you create the certainty within you?
Well, mastering it and finding it. So, like going back to photography, part of what drives me is to get it right. So that my need base is competency, is to be accurate, to be right. So I have to constantly find problems to make them right, quote unquote, to me. And so when I take a photo, part of the aspect of that is getting it right and getting the setting, getting the lighting right, getting the position right, coordinating with somebody else so they take the picture. And once I master it, I feel I'll be kind of bored with it and I'll move on to something else. And so many people, I think, tie all that sense of like anxiety, stress, and strain to achievement. I think the pill that people swallow is like the sex part in a new relationship. You know, because it's intimate, it's quick, it's like it's all encompassing. It feels good, and you have a finite beginning, and you would definitely have an end to it, and then you can reoccur it. But after time, it just kind of remains stagnant. You know, but that's placing that emotional process on somebody else. Where something like photography, I can kind of put that in there and keep it personal to myself. I'm not putting it upon anybody. If anybody's putting pressure on me, it's myself. You know, and me not putting it on, let's say, you know, a relationship or somebody else.
Yeah.
So anyway, so we're at 31 minutes. So we can continue to talk about this. All over today. Yeah. So there's so much to talk about regarding certainty, variety.
Yeah.
Again, if you want to reference back to Tony Robbins, he does a good YouTube video on that. I'll put that back up here. Well, we lost him.
Well, yeah, it's right. Just look up 6 Human Needs, Tony Robbins.
Tony Robbins.
About a 30-minute video, and
unleash the power with it. Oh,
it's pretty good. He'll be a lot more clear than we were, that's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, well, whatever. But he does talk about significance, love, connection, which again I think is that emotional journey. And then when you get to that growth and contribution, the rest of it just is seemingly a little bit easier to digest. And seemingly a little bit easier to kind of manage in life. And you're not, again, putting it upon somebody. And you actually feel like you're getting somewhere versus always being stuck in the same place. Because I will tell you, if you haven't mastered it, you're going to find a pattern of being involved with the same types of people all the time.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
All the time.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Oh, boy. And so I did want to point out a book that
Can I do it?
Yes, you can do that.
I got a gift.
I gave Miss Mary a gift today. The courage to be disliked. So if anybody is caught in that sense of like constant frustration, and they feel like everybody has turned their backs against them, this is actually a really good book to kind of get involved.
Are you putting it up there, or am I just?
You're just holding it. I'll put it on. So I gave Mary a gift today. The courage to be disliked is on Amazon for only $13.59.
If you want the hard copy.
If you want the hard copy. If you want the digital, you can do your own thing.
I love hard copy books. That's something about them.
So something told me that, the things aligned today, and I had to give Mary a copy. But again, if you're in that sense of uncertainty and you need, some stability in your life, and you're constantly going out there and being involved with the wrong people, this is something that you should explore and read. And it's in more of a story format rather than like a how-to. So it's more reflective because I think stories tend to be more reflective in your own personal life rather than a how-to book.
Oh, yeah, for sure. The art of storytelling.
Yes, correct.
Yeah, for learning. It's great.
But we're here at the end of the show. So if you liked it, again, and you want to comment on anything we've talked about, if you want more information regarding any of the books or the information that we have, put that in the comment section. We'll get back to you at some other point. But Miss Mary, it's been an honor.
It has.
I love her white teeth, by the way. She has such white teeth. I get a little jelly in the white teeth.
I'll have to bring some of my secret Crest white strips.
Until next time.
Right.
So Rob Morales, RCO Network with Miss Mary Van Alstyne. Thank you for joining us, and we'll catch you guys next week.